process. Well, the big ones were wonderful. Once they got, I mean, I looked at it, I wanted to run out of my chair. I was sitting in a sort of dentist chair. I felt captive there. And he got this thing in his hand, and I couldn't believe it was going into my eye. And he said, lie back, relax. And he did something like magic. It was like sleight of hand. And it was in my eye. He said, here's a mirror. And I looked at my eye. And it was wonderful. It looked like a cat's eye with that perpendicular slit that they have, beautiful eyes. And I thought, this is going to be magic. What happened? After a few weeks, they decide that these won't do, that this man is not going to be with us on filming. We're going to have to do it ourselves, or things are too big, or maybe too expensive to use. So they gave us little cheap rubber, yellow, with no slits. What are they called again? Contact lenses. And actually, we could put them in ourselves with a certain amount of pain. It took a lot of practice, and it needed somebody standing there to say, bit to your left, bit to your left, bit to your right, up, and so on. Because you couldn't do it with mirrors, because you were busy holding this thing and holding an eyelid. It's quite nasty. But I was disappointed, because I thought yellow eyes just looked like yellow eyes, they don't look like cat's eyes. I heard that similar things happened with the cheetah heads. I hope you like the cheetah heads. I was told by somebody that when they put out the, I think they're called tenders, aren't they, when they ask people to submit estimates. They were brought in. One businessman said, what do you think it is? And it was wonderful apparently, but it was very expensive. And then in came somebody else the next day and said, what do you think of this cheetah head? Wasn't so good, but it was cheap. Of course, the BBC took the cheap one. And my own feelings are that this sort of thing shows, and I think it was a little sad. But I hope you like the cheetah heads you got. I don't know if you did. There were times when they looked quite frightening, and other times they looked like teddy bears, which wasn't really the idea at all. The teeth, again, I had to put fangs in. I was told to, I didn't want to do it. And it meant going back to this same, I think they've got a funny name, not dentists, but orthodontic engineers or something. And they put in these fangs. Again, it needed a bit of plasticine or something to get the mold of my own teeth, and then they made the larger teeth and they slipped them on top of yours. It's quite effective, but I find it very hard to speak. I find it very hard to speak clearly, and so I took the bottom ones out after a while. Bad continuity. That next time you look at that show, you might notice I haven't got the bottom teeth in. They got in my way. Right.
Yes. Of course, round about the middle of your tenure as the master, you were involved in the 20th anniversary story, The Five Doctors.
Yes.
How did you find that, working with all these people who were coming back into the show?
Well, I was absolutely thrilled, and I was aware that it was a great honour, and I was aware that it was a historical event, and I was very, very pleased to have such a large slice of the action and in a good story. I'm very pleased to have been in that. It was exciting working with all the doctors, and a look-alike doctor, and yes, I really liked it. I'd like to go back to the teeth, if I may.
Please do.
The eyes, rather, because I've got a funny story. In the fight with Sylvester, I accidentally hit him quite hard with a large bone. I didn't mean to hit him, you know, in these things, you rehearse them, and it's done by numbers. 1, 2, 3, your turn, Charlie. 4, my turn, 5. And you work it all out, but somehow, in a run-through, I managed to hit his wrist very hard with a femur. And that's a large bone. Sylvester had been told that day to wear those wretched, what are they called again? Contact lenses, yellow contact lenses. And he didn't like it because he hadn't had the training that Sophie and I had had. It was his first time, and he was finding it very painful to put them in. And it was painful, especially if you didn't know where, what you were doing, and you didn't have much help. And when they were in, they were painful. And he wasn't enjoying it at all. And he was in pain. And when I hit him on the wrist with the bone, I said, "I'm terribly sorry, Sylvester." He said, "Don't worry, Aunt. I've now got so much pain in my wrist, I kind of feel the pain in my eyes." That's a true story.
Was there ever a point?
Sorry about the accent, by the way. We've got some Scots people here. Sorry, Nick. I just want to say we've got some Scots people here, come all the way from Edinburgh. It's lovely to see you, people who've come so far.
I was going to ask if there was ever a point, we're talking about action sequences and things going on, was there ever a point at which you were stood in for by a stuntman for some action scene?
Yes. If I mention the moment with the green slime pouring from my throat, do you remember what I'm talking about? Green slime?
This is time flight, is that?
Hey, I've caught the bug. Yeah. This was Khalid, wasn't it? End of Khalid. And I want to tell you, I'm glad it wasn't me. For some reason, a lot of green muck was to come from my mouth as I became master again. And they got this guy, I don't mind laughing, and when they did the bit where the stuff comes out of his mouth, apparently he nearly died, he nearly choked. And that was the only time that they used a stand-in. I was once asked if it was really me running in, was it the Five Doctors when I sprinted down that hill? Is that you running? They think I can't run, you know. Because I'm no spring chicken. Well, I run a lot. Yeah, it was me running.
And that was you and Peter all the way through the sword fight in the King's Demons?
Yes, yes.
That's very impressive.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I had a big thing about the King's Demons. I wanted very much to have a long nose, a mortician's wax nose, to change the shape of my profile. But television is so they've got strict sort of rigid discipline of how they shoot things. If we were filming this, his camera would be there, my camera would be there, so that usually you're seen not in profile, unless it's a two-shot with one camera there. And consequently, hardly anything was seen of my false big nose, because I was usually on that camera, even on filming, or one camera on filming was usually there. And I think it would have been much more effective, the disguise, if they changed the system of television and had one camera shooting, you know, this profile to see the nose, and then no one would have ever guessed it was me.
How long did these incredible makeup sessions tend to take?
Quite a long time, but I don't mind, because you get extra money for big makeup sessions. You get overtime. That's why the BBC don't like putting on noses and stuff. You get overtime, sitting in the chair and having a beautiful girl play around with her face. So I quite like that. I quite like getting in about 5 a.m. having a big makeup job.
Just before we throw things open to the floor, there's one other doctor that you've worked with which we haven't mentioned yet, which is called Colin.
Yes.
How was Trial of a Time Lord for you?
I like working with Colin. I'm sure you've all met him, and he is a really beautiful, a well-mannered man. Very easy to work with. A proper gent, as they say down south. He's a proper gent, that Colin. And it was a lot of fun. Couldn't have been nicer, really. I'm sure you all like Colin. Just want to put in a good word. Talking of 5 Doctors, I'd like to put in a good word for Richard Herndl, who was very brave and was dying. Died within 6 weeks, I think, of that show. I think he did a wonderful job, a very difficult job, playing a look-alike. And I think he did it very well. And I don't think enough is said of Richard Herndl. I think that I try to mention him whenever I can.
Right. Has anyone in the room got a question for Anthony then? You've had enough of me. Let's see our hand go up. Oh, right here. Well then.
Nobody got a question for me? There's a hand at the back.
Right back. Hello, sir.
Would Would the little boy, does he like Doctor Who, the little lad there? Great to see him. I don't
Oh, we've got a
that.
microphone, marvellous.
Anthony was talking about the doctors. What's it like working with Pat Trout?
Well, yes. I could go on for some time about Pat. He was really a wonderful fellow. When I think of the chats one has in the green rooms talking with actors, I can tell you that he was not only an actor's actor, he was a really, I think, probably the actor's doctor. And a very, very wonderful person. I was fortunate or unfortunate to be with him when he died in Georgia, USA, Columbus, Georgia. And it was a very unhappy moment, I can tell you. I was privileged to dine with him on the night before. He was very fit and well. Oh, can't talk about that.
Do we have another question? Yes, over there.
You're talking about sort of working with people who've unfortunately died. What would you like to be written in your own obituary?
Yeah. This bloke is past his recommended selling date. I don't know. I think I might like it said that I hope they weren't kidding about heaven, because I want to go to heaven.
Well, that's interesting. Yes, over here.
How do you think you act in comparison to the late Bishop Delgado who used to play the Master?
Did everyone hear that at the back? No. How does Anthony feel about his performance in relation to that of Roger Delgado?
Well, I don't really. I can only tell you that I felt very privileged to be given the part and follow such a wonderful performer as Roger. I didn't know that it was going to be as important as it turned out to be. I mean, I had no idea that all of you existed. I didn't. And I didn't know that these shows would be scrutinized for so long and analyzed and talked about 15, 20 years later. I just didn't know that, and it didn't dawn on me how important it was. I was asked by Nathan Turner if I would see the videos of Roger. I hadn't seen them, you know. I wasn't watching it prior to Tom Baker. I watched Tom because Tom was a great friend of my family, is a great friend of my family. And I was very interested to see how he was doing. But I didn't watch Roger, and Nathan said to me, would you like to watch Roger? And I said, yes, certainly. I'll give you the vids, he said. I'll give you the videos of Roger Delgado. And he never gave them to me. He never did. And in a way, I thought, well, maybe he's happy with what I'm doing and it's gone out of his head. And I got on with it. You know, I think the thing to do, and I'm reminded of the Maggie Thatcher the other night, is not to try to copy people. I don't think it would have, I mean, no matter what you thought of me as the way I did it, I think it might have been not very successful if I'd tried to be a pale imitation of Roger. I think in acting, you've really got to make it your own, make him your own man. You've got to take it from your own center. Your eyes are the character's eyes, your mind is a character's mind, your arms are Hamlet's arms, your legs are Hamlet's arms, your body, everything. And then it is at least original and at least, your own. I just feel that it would have been wrong to me to sit there studying the videos. Now these guys the other night, I don't know what you thought of that. Did you see that show, Maggie Thatcher? Did you like it? I thought some of the lookalikes weren't working too well. I mean, they didn't like, and all these name dropping that was going on. The name dropping. So here's Peter, here's George, here's Nicholas, and here's David, and you didn't know who they were because they didn't look like the people. And I got a bit lost now and again. And the one person who stands out a mile Heseltine, and I don't think the Heseltine look-alike worked at all, did you? As it happens, I'm told that I look a little like Roger Delgado, and I think that may have been one of the reasons Mary Letts wanted me to do it. I was lucky enough to have played for Barry Letts in the late 70s in a thing called not Great Expectations, Nicholas Nickleby, with the then young Nigel Hayworth playing Nicholas Nickleby very well, very good indeed he was. And I played a villain in that called Sir Mulberry Hawk, a nasty piece of knitting. And Barry Letts saw something in me, I think, that not only resembled Roger, but embodied evil. I don't know what it is. I mean, I once sat next to a girl in rehearsal pouring some tea in a play, sort of Who's for Tennis sort of play, and my line was, would you like another cup of tea? And she broke rehearsals. She broke the moment by saying to me, it wasn't in the script, she said, my God, you're evil. And all I said, I guess it's something that I have. I'm trying to lose it.
First time I can remember seeing you, Anthony, in my youth was being very, very evil in The Land That Time Forgot. Does that bring back any memories?
Yes, it did. It does. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I did play a bit of a Nazi swine called Dietz, who took away a submarine and left some people on a volcanic island, was it? And the dinosaurs. And then I got shot. Yes, I wasn't very nice in that. But what may surprise you is that I won the comedy prize when I was at RADA. Yeah. Yes, that's true. I won the comedy prize. It was very small amount of money. Very small amount of money. The Fabian Drake Prize for Comedy goes to Anthony Ainley, and I was amazed. I think it was playing Jack Worthing in The Importance of Being Honest, which I enjoyed very much.
A man of many parts, then.
Well, thank you. And some of them still working.
Do we have another question for Anthony? Yes, over there. Can we have the microphone? I think no one's going to have a chance of doing this.
Anthony, how would you feel if, and we all hope that this won't be the case, but how would you feel if survival turns out to be the last confrontation between you and the Doctor?
Well, I wouldn't be pleased. A guy's got to eat. I wouldn't be pleased at all, but I have a feeling it is going to be the end. In my deepest heart, I think it is all over. I hope I'm wrong. I wish I could have brought you exclusive news that we go again in the autumn. 28 episodes of the Doctor. Freudian slip. But alas, I can't bring you this news, and I genuinely, I hope I'm wrong, I think the party may well be over. But I want to thank you for keeping it going, and I want to thank you for all the efforts you've made to revivify the legend. And I have no doubt in my own mind that were it not for all of you, and people like you around the globe, it wouldn't have lasted 28 years. I want to thank you.
You're about to be revivified on video either later this year or
Yes.
beginning next year on Tuligopolis and Castrovalva.
I'm pleased to say that the videos are coming out. Castrovalva, Legopolis, and Cave's Band of Johnny, where I have one line that's coming out. It's nice, and I'm so proud that these videos sell so well. You go into W.H. Smith, you see their chart sales up on the wall. Top 10. 3 Doctor Who's one week in the top 10. It was wonderful.
Do we have another one? Oh,
I
yes.
want to thank you all.
Have we got a microphone down at the front here? Oh, you're not taking one on the way. We'll come to you in a second. Yes.
Anthony, do you ever read the comic strip adaptation of Doctor Who? And if so, what do you think of them?
I'm sorry.
Do you ever read comic strip adaptations of Doctor Who?
Do I ever read the comic strips?
Yes, and if so, what do you think of them?
Well, I don't read them, but I gaze at them. I gaze at the pictures. I've always been a man for looking at pictures. When I read the newspapers, I don't read the print very much. I look at the pictures. A bit like Ronnie Reagan in that respect. I think the drawings are very nice. Very difficult to get those drawings looking alike. We're back to Margaret Thatcher looking alike. The lookalikes are difficult sometimes. Difficult to get certain faces, but I think they get them. I think they're very clever. I have a great respect for artists. I think it's a difficult task, drawing, and I think they do it very well. Indeed.
Just have this chap down here, yes.
Are you involved with the comic strips? Is that why you asked the question?
No, it's just that I like doing a bit of art, cartooning. I'm presently taking a course in cartooning, and I've often wondered whether to create enemies for Doctor Who, or drawing them, you know, just out of curiosity. You know,
Yes.
now. But, I enjoy drawing.
I wish I could draw. I can trace. I'm a good tracer.
Yes.
Don't be shy, ask a question. I'm really a very approachable man.
Why do you think they've taken the programme off the air?
Well, I think the ratings drooped a little. I think the ratings fell in the last 10 years, didn't they? I mean, Tom was getting big figures. The ratings fell. And when ratings fall in television, in spite of your love, in spite of your enthusiasm, the executives get scared and they give it that. What reason? Why did the ratings fall? Might have been because we went out opposite Coronation Street, the most popular soap in the world. I don't know. I really don't know. It was a big drop, wasn't it? It was down from, I mean, it was about a 50% drop. It's pretty considerable. And I think TV executives panic when they see the figures doing badly, and when they do well, the BBC executives get excited. It's all about numbers and figures and sales. They must be excited about the sales of the videos.
Do you think that might mitigate in the favour of the
I
show?
think it must. I think if they ignore that, they're crazy. I think that if only the BBC had taken a bit more care, spent a bit more money, and treated you people better, they would have done well. By that I mean treated you better, I mean just given you better quality. Not rushed them. I think they were too rushed. In my experience, they were rushed. It's all to do with money, you see. They took you for granted, I think. They tended to use Doctor Who as a kind of training ship for novices to get their experience on. That's bad.
Yes, have you got someone over there? Right, go for it.
Have you got a favourite Doctor Who story that you've appeared in?
Favourite story?
Yeah. I tend to have, seriously, favourite moments, you know. I mentioned hurling Tom from a great height. That's one of my... Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully the message that follows. That scene was one of my favourites. It was the moment rather than the story. I have to tell you, I didn't know when we were making Legopolis that it was a hit or special. But it's wonderful, and in retrospect, I'm very proud to have been in Legopolis because it does so well in the charts, if I may use that term, the polls. I see Legopolis doing quite well, and I'm very pleased to have been in it. I'm very proud of being in, as I told you earlier, The Five Doctors, because I think that was a good show. It's done very well. And I loved the moment. My favourite moment in that was misleading the Cybermen on the giant chessboard. And one day, I loved coming up on the big screen in Trial of a Time Lord, you know, nice way to enter a story. Suddenly seeing a big screen and entering like that. I'd never made an entrance like that before. I was very pleased with that. Although my part in Trial of a Time Lord was rather minuscule, it was nice to be there. Michael Jaston's a wonderful person.
Anthony, I've just been told through this funny little hearing aid that's just been shoved in my ear.
I'm talking too much.
No, not that you're talking too much at all, but that if we just turn around now and you can all carry on facing in the same direction, we in fact have a little moment from the end of Delgado, which is an evil moment. Evil glove removal, I thought there.
I can tell you that no actor likes seeing himself on the screen, I can tell you that for nothing.
Marvellous stuff. Well, that's all coming out on video soon, so you can snap that one up. Yes, we have another question over there somewhere.
It's called a plea to the BBC. Don't give up on us, beep beep. Not now, we've come this far. That's Sophie, she's a great big star. She's also very lovely and awfully nice to know. Don't give up on us, beep beep. Give us back our show. Give us back our show. That used to be a lovely tune. I used to like it before I heard myself on tape.
As a nurse, I already tried to talk me into euthanasia.
And we had lots and lots of silk, you know, lining and a waistcoat with a silver collar. And we had a very, very hot June indeed. And I just found it uncomfortable for that reason. I just wish they'd remember that actors do feel the heat and the lights and the sun and all that can be quite problematical. I believe Richard Burton always used to insist that every one of his costumes...
For Anthony for this session, yes.
Which is your favourite target novelisation?
Your favourite novelisation? Have you read the books at all?
I read all the books, you know, but I don't like to insult people by not including them as my favourites. And I have to be very tactful here. I mean, I want to come again to Nebula. All the writers are here, I believe. Talking of writing novelizations, it was so sad about Ian Marter. Again, I was with him just before he died. And I've never seen a man look so well. He wrote well, didn't he, Ian Marter? He looked so well. He'd been doing one of these muscle courses. You know, he had muscles in places I haven't even got places. And he looked wonderful. And he dropped dead months later. He was about 39, I think. Unbelievable. What's happening to us all? That's why I'm drinking water and I'm not taking any chances.
Right, well, on that note, is there a steward in the room? If so, stick your hand up, please do. No, not at all.
I'm quite happy
right.
to continue this. I don't have to sign until...
I've been wound up on Anthony, I'm afraid. Right, we'll be seeing a lot more of Anthony later on today. He's signing later today. He's going to be appearing tonight, doing all sorts of extraordinary things, and we'll be seeing him again tomorrow. But for the time being, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave you with an episode of those painful contact lenses in Survival, after which John Nathan Turner will be taking the stage. So for the time being, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to Anthony Ainley.
Thank you. I wanted to say, because I'm very pleased with you all for not throwing tomatoes. And I've got some little candies here. They're root beer barrels. Do pass them round. It's nice to have a sweet. to sing along.
Good night.